My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours. We're a music podcast that chats to artists, musicians and creatives on their songwriting craft and upcoming projects. I'm your host Simon Fink and welcome to episode 258. Our guest today is Nicholas Allbrook, frontman for Pond and brilliant solo artist in his own right as well. The WA-born songwriter is releasing his fourth studio record in a few weeks, titled Manganese, and he returns to the pod today to discuss the brilliant new record. Before we go any further, please make sure you're following us across all of our socials, whether that be Instagram, TikTok or YouTube, and make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on whatever app you use for podcasts. If you are feeling generous, please go ahead and give us a review or a rating, as that always helps. Our guest today is Nicholas Allbrook. The prolific psych-rock songwriter from WA has been making music for over 17 years now. And whether you know him from his work in Pond, Tame Impala, Allbrook Avery or his solo work, chances are you've listened to Nick's music before. He's making a brilliant return on June 9th with his fourth solo record, which is titled Manganese. Now, this record appears to be a little bit more personal for Nick and sees him combining more serious lyrical content with soaring Australian 80s kind of post-punk and synth rock and classic rock. It is a beautiful sounding record sonically. It is classic Pond / Nicholas Allbrook. And for any fans of any of his projects, you will not be disappointed with this brand new record. In today's episode, we talk to Nick about the sonic inspirations for Manganese and how they kind of came to be due to his songwriting techniques. We discuss his forthcoming solo tour and how it differs from touring with the Pond guys. We also discuss the juxtaposition that this new record holds with these gorgeous and soaring melodies that are kind of mixed with more serious lyrical content. We do also, right at the end, get some incredible music recommendations from Nick, which is what we've come to expect from him anytime he does jump onto the pod. The tour dates for Nicholas Allbrook, along with where you can pre-order, buy or save Manganese, can all be found within today's show notes. And we do want to thank Jake from Inside Out Agency for his help with today's episode. Here is our conversation with Nicholas Allbrook. Please welcome back to This Song Is Yours, Nicholas Allbrook. Hello, kind sir. How are we?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Nick. Where are you joining us from today?
I'm in my home in Fremantle, WA.
Lovely. How is WA treating you at this very moment? It is mid-May. Is it cold over there at the moment?
Yes. Sort of. I mean, it depends who you're asking. You know, for me, cold. But I think that would be pretty rich if to some of the people in the Northern Hemisphere, they always think I sound like a real dickhead when I'm saying, oh, yeah, it's getting cold here too. In fact, even my parents, they live over in the sort of highlands, like near Canberra. They always sort of sneer at me when I say, oh, yeah, it's starting to get chilly over here, you know. Because it's fucking freezing over there. Yeah.
It's all comparable, and two different parties and places can be cold at the same time. So, look, I think it's very fair. I'm hoping that you're able to keep warm during these times. It is a very exciting time at the moment, Nick. there's a brand new record almost here from yourself. It's on the way. It is called Manganese, and it is out June 9th. Firstly, congratulations on this brand new record.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
No, of course. It is, I was having a look. It's the 4th studio record from yourself. And in terms of prolific output, I think that you've got it covered, Nick, in terms of there's your solo stuff, there's Pond stuff, there's, Allbrook and Avery. Where does this work ethic come from? Do you ever stop songwriting and give yourself a break?
It's a funny question, isn't it? I've been thinking about that recently, about holidays. And it is really strange when your job is your creative language. And because I can't imagine, I was thinking about trying to have a break, trying to go on a holiday and like so that you don't get burnt out. But as soon as seconds after thinking about it, I thought, oh yeah, I could take some stuff down and be an opportunity to concentrate on writing a bit more. It's like, no, that's not a holiday. So no, I mean, I stopped songwriting because sometimes you can't. And that'll be for ages, weeks, months, whatever. But I'm always trying. It's just that a lot of the time it's shit. But I think you do become attuned to when it's shit. Like I was sort of thinking of some lines the other day. I was like, nah. I'm not going to write that down. That's crap. Yeah.
I feel like just touching on what you said at the start of that, I feel like sometimes the two minds, it's easy to, it's that wanting to go and take a step back from things, but then when you kind of get into the planning stages, you realise that I guess the opportunity of also doing what you're trying to escape from is almost too good as well, in that kind of weird dichotomy part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it is strange because I think it's actually the other aspects of life, that do get in the way of songwriting all the time. So it's, yeah, it wouldn't be a holiday. It would be just actually being able to properly disconnect from all the things that don't make me happy. That like I would love to. I remember Gil Scott Heron said something about why he bought a house down in Florida, because he could just go there and smoke good grass and write and be with his piano and play the songs, write the songs that make him and other people happy. And that's what I sort of imagine. I think that would be, But I see, you've got to work. I have to work, do jobs and I see mates and fucking get stuck on the internet doing horrible stuff like that.
I can appreciate that. Well, at some point, I hope there is a holiday in your future where you're able to have some form of disconnect. But until that point, again, we do have the forthcoming Manganese on the radar. As I mentioned before, you've got Pond, you've got your solo stuff. Is there any kind of tradition or ritual that comes around each time you release music? Because you've got, I think, over 13 or 14 studio records between all those different projects.
A ritual? What do you mean?
Is there anything that you do as you release new music, regardless of the project? Is there something that you do almost as maybe it might be like a little good luck charm thing, or it might be just a thing that puts the record in its correct trajectory?
Yeah, not really. Nothing that's really very interesting. You know, it's the sort of, I don't think doing press and stuff is a ritual. It's yeah. I think that's a really good idea, though. I'd love to actually. I think it would probably give a bit more sort of it'd sort of give a bit more weight to what's actually happening, and maybe allow myself to appreciate that I've done something. But by the time it comes to release day, it's just like, oh, we don't even meet up and go to the pub or anything. It's just like, forget about it, really.
Are you someone who, once it is out, that it's just kind of, it is out, it's to the people, and then you're already on the next project anyway?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do get an extra little kick when I get the vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go, ooh, chuck it on.
Yeah.
Have a listen. And yeah, but that's about it. I do get a lot of joy from playing the songs live, you know, when you can sort of bring them, you know, sort of air them in that way. That gives it a lot more. Then it's a sort of constantly shifting relationship with them, so it's new almost all the time. Yeah, but the recorded stuff, no, you do get a bit. You've heard it a million times. Yeah.
You are taking the record out in June around Australia, and then I believe to other corners of the globe. Are you, other than the obvious, obviously, you're not with the band this time around, but how do those tours differ from your perspective as the artist? How do those tours differ in terms of how you approach them?
Well, solo ones are strange. They're really strange. They can be. The hardest thing with solo, like just me, is practicing. You're just alone in a room, and I find myself like forgetting to, like, I'll just stop singing in the middle of a song and just sort of drift off. You know, get distracted and like look at the ceiling or whatever. And they can be good. I do miss, you know, it's really great playing with the band. But there is a sort of easy quietness with a solo tour, in terms of personalities and stuff like that. But it can be quite hectic, sort of internalizing everything and setting up all your shit yourself, and yeah. I love playing with a band. I think it's really fun. Yeah.
Because these songs on this brand new record, which I don't want to touch on in a second, but a lot of them are not kind of quiet solo songwriter kind of songs. There is a lot of I don't even want to say bombast, but for some of these tracks there's a lot going on, and I'm curious, is there any chance or any point that you think that you'll maybe tour this record with a full band and kind of have that bigger sound behind it?
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, in Australia it'll be with a band, which is Teo Snowball playing bass, Cameron Potts used to play in a band called Baseball, on drums, and Thea Woodward playing flute and saxophone, and I'll be playing, doing my thing. Yeah, because you're right, and I'd love it if it was called if the word bombast was thrown around in relation to my music. Yeah. It'll be great doing it with those guys. When I'm doing it by myself, I've got sort of drum machines and samples and loops and stuff that I'll just play over the top of, which should be pretty fun. Actually, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be gas. But yeah, it's cool. It's fucking fun doing it with a new band. Not Pond. It's pretty raucous because I realised that
It took a lifetime to find the person you want to marry. Finding the perfect engagement ring is a lot easier. At BlueNile.com, you can find or design the ring you've always dreamed of with help from Blue Nile's jewelry experts who are on hand 24/7 to answer questions, and the ease and convenience of shopping online. For a limited time, get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com. That's $50 off with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
with Pond, there's a sort of I look like I'm doing the safety dance. There's a sort of yin and yang kind of synergy where whatever energy I bring is balanced by the other people. So having Jay Watson as the sort of MD of Pond, and this sort of omniscient critical ear when we're practicing, you go through a song and like as soon as it finishes, he'll go, he'll say, turn to someone in the band and say, I think the rhythm you were doing on the bass, the synth bass is just like a half beat off or something, And now that I'm playing in a band where I'm the director, it's just complete fucking chaos, because like there's no one doing any of those things. There's no one saying, I think that's a bit fast, or even really, really, really simple directives like that. There's none of that shit. It's just like sort of setting a fuse. And if I enjoy myself, then all's good,
That
but
makes
it's
the
fucking
criteria.
fun. Yeah. And some of the songs have changed, like the songs that haven't even come out yet, just from doing them with the band. And like we'll do something wrong and I won't be bothered to say it was wrong. So it just becomes different. Yeah.
I love that though. There's sometimes it's nice to see a band that there are what do you want to call it, like little imperfections or impurities on a track that that they're playing live, that it's the real kind of raw connection between the musicians.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That's what I want in music, and live music is an actual experience with living, breathing musicians, especially with the it's just, it doesn't have to, especially with the sort of appification of every part of our lives, banking and dating, and like now that love is being appified, it's just like goes a bit beyond the pale, right? So like having a sort of flawed, fractured experience with with live music is so important. to sort of actually feel some sort of connection and feel that something's actually happening in real life in front of you, you know. So that's how I justify all the fuck ups we make, the constant mistakes we're throwing out there, and my complete lack of authority and direction. Yeah.
No, look, as I mentioned, I think that it is all the better for it. So whatever capacity the songs arrive in a live form, I'm very excited to see, Nick.
Good.
This record is it is gorgeous. I know I mentioned it before, but it is a gorgeous record. I feel like sonically it's kind of got one foot in like Australia, 80s Australiana, if you will, in like some of the bands that we were putting out in the 80s, like Icehouse and In Excess. And then there is still some, I want to say, your normal psych fuzz sounds that people will know you for, that it's kind of got its foot across both of those soundscapes, if you will. When you sat down to make this record, was that kind of a conscious thought, or was it just a byproduct of what you'd been listening to and how the songs were kind of coming out?
Yeah, it was a byproduct, and I think you actually really kind of nailed it. It's just a byproduct of my musical interests being literally like Icehouse and like Midnight Oil and the Divinals.
Oh, nice.
I just got that in the mail just before this. The guy knocked and I like ran out. And I was, yes. Being really, really into ambient looping tape music, and like William Basinski and stuff like that. Emily Sprague. And it's just kind of there's nothing else could really happen. That like I like making I am very interested in ambient music, and I like the physicality of making tape loops. But what I do is has a sort of level of bombast and like blunt instrument, you know. Yeah. So that like it couldn't really be anything else other than a sort of soundscapey type thing with me yelling over the top of it. And yeah, it's the same with the other side of it. I am so inspired by that kind of ice pick 80s Australian post-punk, but I'm not good enough to play it. So it comes out like it is. And I'm really, really obsessed with Roy Ayers and Gil Scott-Heron and those wide piano chords and jazzy flute, but I can't do it. So and I'm me, so it just comes out in the way that it does. And you sort of mash all those things together and through the sort of blender of Nick, I suppose.
It's funny that you've mentioned like Gil and Roy and a few other of those artists, because it's funny, even as I've listened to the record a few times now, which we'll thank you very much. We're very lucky enough to have a listen before it has come out, but It is like a good representation of all those artists. I feel it does kind of cover a lot of ground. There is some incredible instrumentation here. I know you mentioned before with the live band that you've got a flautist and a saxophone player going around with you, which is incredible because some of the songs on there just have some beautiful brass and woodwind work. One track I would love to talk about, if you'll allow me to, I think it might have been one that did kind of play around with a drum machine or a synth kind of pad, was Mazda, which is a gorgeous song. Yeah. I'd love to know how you kind of built that song and the influence, or the inspiration for that song. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a funny one. That was like I made a tape loop and I thought it was really nice. And I had a poem that I'd written about driving past a car crash in the suburbs, and it was raining. And sort of, I guess I just thought that there's a way to put those together, that it has to work somehow. And it took so long because for ages it was just this tape loop and me like saying this poem, because there's no sort of, there wasn't much melodic information or harmonics or anything. And then, so I kept on like inviting people, friends of mine, to come around to the studio and just sort of piss around on the song with whatever they, instruments they've got. And I'd throw random things in there, like a little clip from a YouTube video and like all this stuff like that. And it was like infuriating because it wasn't like, I don't want to sound like I'm sort of over mysticizing the artistic and magic, but like it was totally just not there. And then for no particular reason, one day I just pressed one of the presets on a drum machine that Jay had lying around, and I was like, oh, that's nice actually, and put it on there, and then did the synth bass line, and then 5 minutes later the song's done after like 8 months of just looking at it and kind of smothering it with shit, basically, just so much stuff, random stuff that had no like I got Julian Barbagallo to do a drum solo, and I didn't even send him the song. Just like, just wail on drums. And he did, and it was fucking awesome. But yeah, so it took a while to figure it out, and then it happened really suddenly and sort of in a really understated way. Yeah,
it is a gorgeous song, Nick. The spoken word nature of it is, I think that's maybe what caught my ear that first listen round. But it is not alone in terms of that this record seems to, in my opinion, and please tell me if I'm incorrect, it seems to be more of a, what's the word, honest, lyrically honest kind of record. It is touching on some pretty, I want to say, like serious subject matter. That we're talking about environmental issues that Australia faces. We're talking about, I believe one of the songs is about the loss of a friend. And what was it? The song Veil the Chord, you start with I'm petrified that I have cancer, which is a very bold way to start a song. And and we don't have to go too far into some of the psyche of what's brought those lyrics on, but I wonder, sonically it doesn't sound like that. So how do you find that balance between some of these beautiful melodies, as you said before, like these very open style chords, and then the lyrical subject matter, which might not lend itself usually to that kind of genre or sound?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't actually really thought about the kind of the synergy or the relationship between what you'd expect from the type of lyrics I write sonically, because I don't really know what you'd expect from the type of lyrics as like a backing soundtrack to the kind of lyrics I write. I got no idea. But yeah, you're right. I think something happened. I don't know why. I just really felt like I wanted to be as honest as possible. And sometimes, because I really appreciate that, when other people do it. And in a way, it's one of the main ways I communicate. And it's a salve to loneliness. And it really helps me a lot. Writing songs about stuff that hurts, or it actually, in a weird way, does take a weight out of my heart and put it into the air. And I hope I'm not burdening other people with it, but I feel like it doesn't work like that. And yeah, I don't know. It's like it's a flaw. It's a character flaw in some ways that I do find it easier to communicate with songs than to actually say stuff to people. And sometimes when there's stuff that I really want to say to someone, but I'm too nice or too, I don't know, too sort of non-confrontational, I just write it. I think that is a big part of being a performer as well, is like using a sort of fantasy version of yourself. An inflated version of yourself, and doing that with lyrics is I think it's more interesting. It's more interesting to hear the sort of lizard brain of Nick and the id than the top one, super ego. Can't remember.
It just very quickly touching on something you said in the middle there. I don't think it does at all burden the listener. If anything, I think that when you are able to, obviously you're using these songs to speak about whatever is going on with yourself in your own life, but being able to almost recontextualize them to sonically sound more upbeat or sonically sound different from the content, if that makes sense, I think can provide solace and support to those people that are listening, because I feel like sometimes there is if you've got sad lyrical content and a sad song, people are more likely to embrace the sadness of that and, stay in their room, do whatever it is that you do when you're upset. And I think when you've got tracks that do have that juxtaposition, that you're able, it personally, I can't speak for everyone, but I do find it uplifting. I find it very supporting. So I think it is, I can imagine no one is burdened by listening to this beautiful record. I think is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad about that.
No, of course. Nick, last time we spoke, it was around the time of the release of 9, the most recent Pond record, and you very kindly made us a playlist. I think it included Divinals, Lindsey Buckingham, Frank Ocean. Is there, usually we would ask, I guess, what they're currently listening to. I know that you've just received that Divinals record today.
Do you remember, did I put the Soaring on that
I think
playlist?
So.
Fuck's sake,
Yes, I
knew it. It kills me. Like I was listening to it just like on my head, not on this, the other day. Just that song absolutely gives me full body chills. It's so good.
Is there, other than the Divinals, is there anything at the moment that you're currently listening to on repeat, or is it just that record at the moment?
Yeah, no, there's stuff that I'm really, really gassed on at the moment. It's I really love this Scottish band called Walt Disco. They are fucking sick, man. They're so good. It's extremely pompiose, which is that's a word that Jay Watson invented in his sort of like hyperspeed way. Like it just came out. It's really, really, really pompiose. It's like, did you say pompiose? He just makes a sort of mashup of two words. It's happened a few times. It's incredible. It's like his brain is revving too hard or something. Walt Disco, insanely good. I really like their record Unlearning and the song How Cool Are You, and Be an Actor, which is another, that's an example of what you're talking about before, with really, really kind of quite heartbreaking, stirring lyrics and really kind of soaring music. I've been thrashing Bronco by Orville Peck.
Solid record.
Fucking wicked, man. Jesus. That is so good. What is it? I sat around last year and wished so many times that I would die. Oh, gorgeous. And the new album by the Slingers, a Melbourne band.
Oh, very solid choices.
Yeah, they're. So I think they all kind of have a through line of being very open-hearted. And man, I saw when I was down at Nannup, I saw Lincoln McKinnon's band, who Thea, who plays flute in my band, also plays sax in his band. And man, it was so good. And it's the same sort of thing, that sort of, I don't know. Can Springsteen be like Springsteen-esque? It's,
yes.
I think that's I think that is a through line of a lot of the music I like. It has a sort of Springsteen-esque, loud, open-hearted, bare-chested kind of tear-filled eyes, Yeah. Lincoln McKinnon, great stuff too.
Look, very solid choices. We'll put those in the show notes for today's episode, along with where listeners can find all the details for your record, Nick. It is Manganese. It is out June 9th. You will be on tour as well throughout June in Australia, so we'll put all the tour details in the show notes for people to find. But thank you so much for coming back onto the podcast. I do appreciate it.
Oh, man, it's always a pleasure. I love it. Have me back anytime.
Never sleep hot again with Bowl and Branch's best-selling naturally cooling sheets. They feel super crisp and cool to the touch and are expertly designed for enhanced breathability so you don't overheat at night. Start getting your best night's sleep this summer with cooling sheets made with the highest quality materials. Try Bowl and Branch with a 30-night worry-free guarantee. Plus, get 15% off and free shipping on your first set of sheets at bowlandbranch.com with code BUTTERY. Exclusions apply. See site for details.